Hi, welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to High Vibrational Mastery, where we are raising the vibration of the planet one soul at a time. My name is Meagan Michael. I am a seer, a seeker, and a visionary. I am the founder of High Vibrational Mastery and your host of our High Vibrational Sunday live stream event, where I present to you spiritual thought leaders from around our world and beyond. Today, my very, very special guest is psychic medium Charla Acker. And I want to go ahead and introduce Charla. We have so much to talk about today.
Yay.
So thank you so much for joining me, Charla. Welcome.
Well, thank you. This is great.
I'm thrilled. You have had a psychic life from childhood. Am I right?
Kind of, I guess you could say that. Yeah.
Oh my God.
From when I was in kindergarten, little. That's when it kind of first started.
I love it. I'm going to ask you all about that. I'm going to actually go ahead and share this out. Good afternoon or good evening, honey. Good evening, Shar, Reedy. Hello, Christine. Hello, welcome. So, honey says hello, Charla.
Hello.
Oh, I love it. So I'm going to go ahead and share this out. What I would like to do, and then we'll switch. Hi, Sherry Collins.
Okay, that's fine.
Is I'm going to go ahead and ask you a question to get right, and then I'll share it out, and then we'll swap. Okay, so let's start at the beginning. Let's go with childhood. And now I know that you've spoken about as a child you would go play in this area that was formerly the site or that of the Collinwood fire, and you want to talk about that? It's very interesting.
Yeah, when I was a child, I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio. And when I was a child, I went, not in the time of the fire, not in 1908, but what happened in 1908, there was a school in Cleveland known as Lakeview. And in 1908, they had a school fire there. It was on Ash Wednesday, March 4th. And 172 students, teachers, and emergency responders perished in that fire.
Oh, wow.
Subsequently, in 1910, they built a new school. They constructed one next to it, and they named that Collinwood Memorial. And that's where I went to school when I was little. And adjacent to Collinwood or Memorial, they built a beautiful flower garden. They had beautiful trees and all kinds of just gorgeous things that attracted butterflies, and just an amazing space where the original school was. And the sad thing about the fire, and it's really interesting. If you look it up on YouTube, they have so much information about what happened at Collinwood. And it is so sad. And a lot of the bodies were never recovered. So they were just burned up. It was wiped out. I mean, families were wiped out. I believe I read someplace where there was one family that had lost 4 children. The brother went back in to try to get the little brother. I mean, just such sad stories. So when I was little, I used to go to school there. I mean, how I ended up there, I don't know, but I did. And my sister and I.
There's no such thing as coincidence, right?
Yeah, exactly. I always say you don't grow up wanting to be a psychic. I always say I was in Jedi training at that time. But
what's your name?
Basically happened that my sister and I would go play in this garden after school. And for me, being a child, you don't know what's going on. I just saw other children that were dressed funny. And my sister would always say to me, "Who are you talking to?" Or, "What are you doing?" And I would always say, "Don't you see the little girl over there, or the little boy?" So that was my first experience with connecting with spirit, was, during that time. And as a child, subsequently, because of that, because you don't know what to do with that energy, I suffered severe anxiety, panic attacks. And, I can remember my sister used to walk me home from school, and I had a terrible fear of dogs, and I had all these phobias. And I believe it was the energy, because I didn't know as a kid. My God, I had dead people all around me. I didn't know what to do with that. What do you do with that?
Your sister psychic too, by the way?
Say again?
Is your sister psychic as well?
She's never told me she was. So I don't know. They always say there's some ability in the family. My mom, I believe my mom is, although my mom calls it something very different. Okay. My mom's very Catholic. So, this was hard for her in the beginning, but now she's very accepting and very embracing of my work. But yeah, so that's kind of my first experience with it. And then I was living in the same home, the same age, kindergarten age. When I used to go to sleep at night, I had one of those old dressers with the big round mirrors on it. And I
Right.
used to wake up at night and I would see visions, kind of like mirror scrying as a
Oh, wow.
child. So it got so bad that my mom had to take a blanket and cover the mirror up because I was like terrified. I was waking up and I was seeing these people and scenes were coming to me. Um, so it was pretty intense as a child. I don't know if spirit was just connecting me to me then because they knew they could. Um,
Yeah. Oh,
it's a process. So, that was kind of um, that was hard to intake being young.
I can understand that. And you said that I heard you say that that you connected with the souls of the children
Yeah, I
when
mean,
you
I
were
could
playing in that area. Am I right?
say again.
That when you were playing in that area,
Hmm.
many years after the fire and all that, that you connected with the souls of the children and you helped them to cross over. Is that
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah. I would, and, being a child, how do you even know to do that? It was one of those things that,
Yeah.
things would, and it would be more of a mental thing. I wouldn't actually maybe speak it, but it
Right.
was more mentally of sharing it, but always telling them to move to the light and always telling them that there's somebody there to help them. I mean, I'm in kindergarten, that wasn't coming from me. That was coming, I believe, from source, from spirit, helping me. And, sometimes I felt that the kids were there just because they wanted to be. I don't think necessarily that any of them were stuck. I just think that that's for whatever reason they chose to be there because that was familiar to them. Some didn't want to leave their family. Some were worried about their families. And people talk about the concept of time, but we have to understand there is no time. It's not the same kind of time in the afterlife as we perceive here. So to them, it was kind of, it happens. I guess I want to say simultaneously with our time. So, you know, um, that's kind of how it, or at least that's how it was shown to me as a child.
That's fascinating. Thank you
Yeah,
for sharing that.
it was crazy. And I can remember being in art class too as a child, and we were making puppets one time, and we were doing a little puppet play. And I can remember two little girls came and sat on either side of me, and started helping me and assisting me with this puppet. And the teacher's like, who are you talking to?
Mhm.
So it was funny. I was really, I think that they were worried about me up to and including my mom and my sister.
I
Because they
understand.
thought, I was a little cray cray maybe at the time, until, things started coming to light. But
So when did you? Okay, so I'm done sharing. So I'm going to throw it over to you to share.
okay.
All right, and can you talk and share at the same time, or do you want me to
Oh,
talk
no,
when?
I think so.
Okay, cool. All right, so many things I want to ask you. All right, so let me go to. This is fascinating. Now, I heard you in another interview say that you had a stroke at a very young age, and
Yeah.
that the stroke was like this turning point, this very like a pivotal point in your awakening. Can you elaborate on that, please?
Yeah, it really was. I was 30
Hmm.
when I had my stroke, and
Wow. Oh my gosh.
I actually had two within 30 minutes. They had taken me to the hospital. I had the slurred speech, and I had a lot of stroke obvious symptoms going on.
Sure.
They had done a CT scan, and here I am. I couldn't talk. But the doctor comes in and tells me, oh, and by the way, we found a tumor on your right temporal lobe, but that has nothing to do with your stroke. So that was kind of crazy because, here you are. Um, I don't know why I'm having trouble with sharing that out.
That's all right. It's actually harder to talk and share than it seems like it would be.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm not able to share to your page or to your group, so you do have to do that. I
Yeah.
tried.
Yeah, that's okay. So yeah, so it was at that time that things really kind of exploded for me. I can't really tell you or pinpoint one thing, but it was just like I had this huge awakening. Um, and my gift, which I didn't even know that I had really at the time, and maybe I did, but I kind of shelved it or kind of, it's a big responsibility. I didn't know if I wanted to do it. It was one of those things that I don't know. I never thought I would be doing what I'm doing today. But yeah, my senses, it was just after that and after I recovered, my senses just became so much more heightened. So the energy became so much more apparent and things just, I always say when the student's ready, the teachers will come. The synchronicity was truly amazing of what happened subsequently after that to get me where I am today. So
Perfect.
yeah, it was an
I'm
experience.
sorry. I'm sorry. Did I interrupt you? I didn't mean
No,
to.
you're good.
I wanted to actually ask you because your bio is fascinating. When you mentioned teachers just now, that's what was about to be my next question, and so it still is. I have that you are certified through Tarot Certification Board of America, and that you are a member of the American Tarot Association and Forever Family Foundation. That you are an ordained minister. And with the Universal Life Church Ministries, a certified, I don't know how to pronounce it, a Reiki, how do you pronounce it? Usui?
Reiki master, yeah.
Reiki master. Well, I got the Reiki part. It was the other one. 1, 2, and 3. And also something I'm really fascinated. I can't wait to ask you about is psychic detective work.
Yeah.
So did these teachers like appear to you, or were you drawn suddenly to go to take? I mean, can you how did you get to where you are now? Like, what happened?
Yeah, I think, yeah, I just started meeting people. I'd be at different places and be striking up conversations with people, or something would pop up on the internet, or it was amazing how that happened. It kind of just evolved, and people started coming into my life from all different places. And I actually, I'm one to believe that, being I didn't call myself a psychic medium for a long, long, long time, because I really believe sometimes we put ourselves out there too early. I believe, we have a lot of good psychic mediums that are very talented, but I think that they rush out too early before they get the education and training that they need. Maybe because they're excited about their work, I don't know, but I think that does a big disservice to their self, because I think with proper training you can heighten your ability so much. And I was always a firm believer of just education, education, education. And I don't care who you are, whether you're John Edward or you're Teresa Caputo, you never stop learning, and I think they would agree with me. You are always in a constant state of learning, and someone always has something. I always say we don't meet people by accident. So someone always has something to contribute. And I never ever wanted to get to a point where ego was in the way. I always wanted to stay humble. I believe this is a life of service. It's not glamorous work by any means. It's a life of service. And there's a lot of responsibility attached to it. And it's not what we see on TV. So for me, education is and was a must. So I take classes, I teach classes. But yeah, I was drawn to different things. And I actually took the forensic class because I had had a few clients that came and, wanted me to work on some different things for them. Now, I don't really like to work forensics that much. For me, it's very dark work.
It would be for me too. It's still fascinating though, and
It
and
is
certainly a great
fascinating.
service for those who are drawn to do that work. Why
Yeah,
did you
and
take the
I
class
think,
if you're not really drawn, or are you? Because you're
well,
good at it, probably, right?
Well, I don't know. There's a reason I took the class. I did it basically to understand the energies and understand. We do a lot in forensics with remote viewing.
I love
To understand that concept a little more,
that.
that's kind of why I took the class. And I think the hardest thing with me with working forensics is sometimes there is no answer. And, when you're a psychic medium, and I'll share this story with you. I had a client whose daughter was passed away due to a murder, victim of violent crime. She was a young girl. And the mother had came to me and wanted to connect with the daughter, which she did. And the daughter had told the mom, you've got to take the positive out of my death. Well, the mother, you can understand someone that lost someone that way and grieving. She's looking at me like, what is positive about a murder? I said, I don't know, but I think it's going to be revealed to you. I said, there's always good that comes out of negative. Subsequently, I got a letter from her 6 months later, and she had developed a support group in her area for victims of violent crime, focusing on children. And now this woman goes all over the United States, and she's a motivational speaker, and she has started support groups in half of the United States. And she said, I got so much healing and clarity. And she says, that's what my daughter was talking about. So we may not understand things at the time, but that's something that's so dark and so bad. And we never caught the perpetrator. And that's one of the big questions when you do forensics. Well, if you're psychics, why don't they let you have that information? And I think I have to say, I believe from doing this work that there's some things that we just aren't supposed to know because we're supposed to have that experience.
That makes sense. That resonates. Yeah.
So, that's very frustrating when you're working forensics, because obviously you want to solve the case, you want to help them, you want to give them as much information as possible. Sure. But sometimes I believe there's just things that aren't supposed to be revealed to us. There's experiences we're supposed to have by what happens to us. So, for me, that would be very hard. And I admire the people who really go out there, and there are some psychics that go out there and work with police all the time,
Right. So what do you love? Okay, so even though you're obviously good at it, this like detective work, it's not like you're calling. You don't feel really
not right now,
because you say it's kind of dark. So what is it that you are most drawn to? What do you love doing? What brings your vibration up? And you're like, yeah, this is what
my vibration comes up when I get to see clients one-on-one, or I can do an event where people are being healed and their loved ones are coming through, or they're getting healing and clarity to problems or issues that they have. And I don't know, this is just my form of thought, but for me, a psychic reading is not about predicting the future. It's about healing, clarity, and transformation. And those are the big threes. And there's clients come to me all the time, and they're on a merry-go-round, and they say, why does this keep happening to me over and over and over again? And for me, a psychic reading kind of can tell you why and how, and give you pathways, and it's always your free will to choose to where you want to be, but can also give you pathways and choices to maybe get off the merry-go-round. The other spectrum, the mediumship. I always say mediumship is one of those things that it's so wonderful when we can bring, you see people in so much pain, and you can bring them so much healing and so much clarity from their loved ones. And, spirit is crazy. It can be undeniable. The things that they come through with are things that, it just is so personal to the client that there's no way that you could know that. You couldn't even make it up, as Teresa Caputo would say. You can't make it up. It's something that, and when they walk out and they have healing or they have peace, and some clients have been internalizing and holding things in for years and years and years. Wow. So, maybe from childhood, from parents, or unresolved issues, or someone had an argument before a loved one has crossed over. We hold on to that guilt in human form. We hold on to that. It kind of keeps us stuck. And when their loved one can come through and say, hey, I forgive you, and I've let go of that a long time ago when we're human beings, and that's why this happens, that's when I go through the roof. It's kind of like, it's amazing. It's amazing work.
That's fantastic. I love it so much. So so while I was listening to this awesome interview that you did, it was like a radio interview. So at the time you were saying you didn't yet call yourself a medium. It might've been from like 2016 or something.
Yeah, that was real early on.
Yeah. So when did you finally say, oh my gosh, I am the total medium here? And because now you do events with like 300 people in the audience, and oh my God. So
that was different. Yeah.
So how did you get from, I don't call myself a medium, to I'm out there and
right?
yeah.
So I did a lot of psychic readings or intuitive work. I use tarot cards because it makes my client feel comfortable, and tarot's
Mhm.
interesting in itself. I love tarot. But I was sitting there one day and I just felt my energy shift. Because mediumship energy is very different than intuitive energy for me. So I started getting this strange sensation, like when I sat in the power. Basically I learned to recognize my energy, but I also learned to recognize, and when I call in spirit's energy. So I was reading a client one day, and we were in the middle of this reading, and I started getting this really strange feeling and energy. So I knew spirit was there. And then I just started hearing and sensing things. So the reading turned then and shifted from intuitive to mediumship. And it started happening more and more and more and more frequently. And I started getting better and better and better. And it was just, I knew, I guess, when it was time that I could say that. It took me a long time. I resisted a lot. And I resisted, even today. I don't, I always say this, we don't always get what we want in a reading, we get what we need. So for me, we all want mediumship, but do we need it? I don't know. That's for spirit to decide. Um, I feel, some people, they come for a reading and they get all intuitive. Some people want an intuitive and they get all mediumship. My wish for everybody is you get a little bit of both. But I don't make that choice. I am just the tool that delivers. I'm like the radio that transmits. I leave all that up to spirit, and I have to trust that they will give you what you need, and hope that you are open and accepting to it. And I find the people that really do get mediumship really, really, really need it.
Yes,
Um,
I can understand that. Yes.
yeah,
Very
and not
healing.
that people,
Very healing.
don't get it. Who, not that our loved ones won't come through and say, "Hey, how you doing?" or "Happy birthday." I've had that all the time. But, I like to reserve the energy for those that really, really need it. But, to get back to your original question, I kind of got off track.
That's
I
okay.
don't know. It just kind of evolved, and then one day I felt comfortable, maybe in the past 2 years, kind of putting it out there,
Hmm.
putting medium in front of my name. Um, and I'm still a little skittish about it because, it's not sometimes. I think people expect it to be like when you watch, Long Island Medium. We don't understand this is a TV show, and a lot of that is scripted. Not that Teresa doesn't have a wonderful and amazing ability, because I believe she does. But when you're making a TV show, there's a budget, there's only so much money. So
Right.
you're going to get the good aspects of that reading. And it's not that easy. It's very different when you do it
But
live
you
in
do it. But
person.
you
Yeah.
do it. You do it like James Van Prague and John Holland and
Yeah.
who's that other one that you had a reading with?
I
Um,
had a reading with John Holland,
yeah.
John Edward. Yeah, I love John Holland. He's wonderful. I had a reading with him
Hmm.
years and years. This was way before I was ever doing this work.
Hmm.
And it was funny because John Holland, who read me, he told me that I was going to be doing this work. And, I kind of shrugged it off, but he was so accurate about so many things, and it's so undeniable that, it was one of those things that, well, hey, maybe, but, that was so long ago, and I kind of put it on the shelf. And then when I started doing this work, that came back to me, and I remember that. And I also was at a book signing one time with John Edward, and I was standing in line like everybody else, all excited, getting my book signed. And he looked at me and he says, "Wow," he says, "buckle up and enjoy the ride." He says, "You're going to be me someday."
Wow.
So yeah, that was just
That's
amazing.
powerful.
Yeah, it was very powerful. But it's just amazing how it evolves, because, when I was little, from meeting spirit
Hmm.
to, uh, going through that phase where I went to every psychic and channeler and trans channeler and everybody I could go to, and reading as much information as I could, and going to psychic fairs, to actually one day doing it myself. So it's just really kind of amazing when I look back and think about where I was to where I am today. Never in my life would I ever have dreamed. And spirit has been I've been so blessed. They have been so good to me, and I just want to give that back to my clients.
It's awesome. Thank you
Yeah.
for sharing that. So I have to bring this up. So is it true, rumor has it, is it true that you didn't tell your husband that you were psychic until after you were married?
Correct. He knew I dabbled and I liked it.
Mhm.
But I was afraid. And you have to understand, I didn't really consider myself psychic.
Mhm.
I just considered myself that maybe I had a little heightened sensitivity and a little bit of a, I don't know, maybe a little bit more sensitive than some people. But it's funny because I'm originally from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Mhm.
And it's funny, my husband, he loved Gettysburg. So as a child, he used to come to Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. I'm in one of the most haunted places in the world. Uh,
Wow. Right.
so,
That's right.
yeah. So, like everybody else, my husband first took me to Gettysburg. Heck, I thought it was an amusement park, right? I had no idea. So he takes me to Gettysburg, and then it just so happened the weekend that he brought me here, and this was before we were married, we were just dating then. The weekend that he brought me here, they were having a ghost hunting convention.
Yeah, that's cool.
So we went out, we met somebody and we went out by ourselves and we walked and hiked down into these burial trenches. And all of a sudden, the temperature dropped from like 70 degrees to zero. You could see our breath. I got this
Oh my God.
horrible feeling. Um, and that was the first thing, and I think it's because I was so in tune. And my husband, um, he kind of felt the same thing too. So we ended up, it was funny because at that time, we ended up kind of running out of the trenches because we were afraid of everybody else. But I even went through that phase, where we did the whole ghost hunting thing. And
Oh, I was going to
what,
ask you about that. I heard you mention that before that you did the
yeah,
ghost hunting.
yeah. So, when you're in Gettysburg, you do what the Gettysburg people do. And that's what we did. So, but then, yeah, it slowly, but he really, we ended up moving here, which was ironic, from
Yeah.
Pittsburgh. And, the amazing thing of it is that I think I was supposed to be here because there was so much sensitivity and so many things that happened in my home, that when we bought it. And, I think that it started to open my husband up a little bit and gradually because he was
Oh,
not interested in this stuff at all. He was a lawyer. Hello. So lawyers think differently. He wants fact. And, so it was funny. The more he
when did you tell him? Like, when did you officially, like, so he thought you dabbled, but when were you like, hey, honey, this is kind of like me and my future, and this is it now?
Well, yeah, one day we were just sitting down having a glass of wine, and I said, I think I have something I have to tell you. And he's like, what? His face kind of went, and I just said, I said, I've been hearing dead people lately. That's kind of how and I said, I think I have this ability. And, he kind of looked at me a little strange. And, I don't think that, I think he kind of laughed it off in the beginning. And I'll tell you, it's really funny. My husband, he always was very supportive of me, but I don't think he truly understood things.
Okay.
And we had a lot of, strange experiences happen in the house, and he started to come around. But my husband first saw me work for the first time when I did When Spirit Speaks at the Totem Pole Playhouse last year in August. So, uh,
You had a huge audience for that. I saw that on video. It's on YouTube, right?
yeah,
I saw
we had over 300 people,
it was
and
packed. I saw they were like it was like standing room only or something.
it was crazy. And that was the first time he really got to see spirit work, and he really got to see what I did and what it meant. He knew, and he knew I started doing readings, and he knew I had clients, but he wasn't into all that. So he
Don't mind
really,
me, just itch.
yeah, okay.
Itcher.
So he really,
Mhm.
he developed a real understanding and became so supportive. And, I couldn't do it without him, because you have to have the support of who you're with, to be able to kind of do this work because, it takes away from your family and friends. And
Right.
I give up a lot, so, but it's rewarding. So, it's kind of twofold. I'm trying to find more balance. Uh, in things that I do, but it's difficult sometimes.
And I want to let everybody know that the links to follow Charla are in our description. Definitely subscribe to her YouTube channel. Her website is at Tarot Impressions by Charla. Am I correct?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
TarotImpressionsByCharlie.com. Also, Charla is on Facebook. And so you can definitely find her and book a reading. People can book a reading with you, psychic and mediumship. Is that correct?
Sure. Yeah. I always say book a reading and, come in with no expectations. Spirit will give you what you want, what you need.
What you need,
So, yeah. Right now, currently, I'm booked out about 12 months.
I saw that on your website today
Yeah.
that you're booked a year in advance. I'm like, wow, that's amazing. Well, I'm glad you're able to join me here today.
Yeah. It's been like I said, it's been a true blessing. And, I try to go out there and offer from time to time. If my energy's up and I'm feeling good, I'll try to offer additional reading days where I put up on Facebook, or
Mhm.
if I'm able to do a First Friday event, in our community, or something where I can go in and offer some mini readings for free. So I try to do some things that, if you book an appointment, you can still get a reading down, a little earlier. But I
Right.
always say there's only so much air in the old balloon.
I understand. So on your website, I thought this was very interesting that you ask your clients to prepare for their reading. And so what is it that you tell your clients? Because I think this is great advice for anyone actually about to go into a reading. So what is it that you tell your clients on how to prepare for their psychic?
Well, I will be honest with you. I don't like to read clients who are in the state of depression or not in a good mental state. Because you have to understand, we're working with energy, and it's just not a good time to come for a reading. People think that sometimes that they need to jump into a reading, and we're going to have all the answers for you. It's not for me to tell you what or how to do it. It's just for me to give you clarity. And sometimes when we're not in a good place, the reading, or we don't perceive or take away from the reading what we should. The other thing I always say is try to relax and just be open. Maybe do a meditation before a reading. If you have specific questions, come in with those, because 9 times out of 10, you're going to come in, you get in front of me, and boom, you go blank. And then you're
Right, so write
leaving.
them down,
Yeah.
and so you focus on something pleasant, like some kind of meditation or a gazing meditation.
Yeah.
And don't come in with any expectations. Is that what you're saying? Because if they
I think
expect a certain outcome, they're not even going to be on the same frequency as you as you're telling them something, because it isn't what they want to hear. Am I right?
exactly. Yeah, and and I always say, I always tell my clients, especially with mediumship, don't come immediately after your loved one has passed.
Right.
Give it 6 months, give it a year. They want us to go through the grieving process,
Sure.
and it's not 1-800 dial the dead. It really that's not how it works.
One
Uh,
eight hundred dial the dead. Is that what you said?
Said 1-800 dial the dead. Yeah.
Funny, I never
You know,
heard that before.
sometimes people, you want to hear from mom or dad, and Aunt Bertha comes through. I don't know why. I always say, and I'll have people, it's funny, I'll have people that come in, and they'll say, well, they've been dead for 20 years. Well,
Wow.
they qualify, they're over there. So even if we didn't know them in life, we are
Mhm.
still connected to them. And the other big thing is, I have this big thing about psychic addiction. Don't run from psychic to psychic or medium to medium
Mhm.
expecting a certain outcome. And I find this more so in mediumship. I have clients that, a few that I've basically told, I'm not seeing you anymore. I'll see you maybe once a year or once every 2 years, because they want to connect with their loved one over and over and over and over and over again. So they'll go to me, they'll go to the medium next door, they'll go to another medium, and eventually
Mhm.
spirit will stop coming through, because again, it's a process of wanting you to heal, wanting you to move forward, and wanting you to move on. So I always say, if you get mediumship, take that as a blessing. and heal and do and take the advice of what that soul tells you, because they truly want you to move on. It can be very damaging to people. So I'm a real stickler about that too. You know, if clients are relying, or I feel they're becoming dependent on a psychic, or on my readings, then I will have a tendency to back away, and kind of give them some different kind of advice, because you know.
A year in between anyway.
Well, yeah. Well, now it wasn't always that way.
I
But
know, I understand. Everybody's got to start somewhere, and then so I want to ask you also. I see that just from being your Facebook friend and observing that you travel quite a lot. Recently, you were in the islands. Is that
yeah,
right?
we did a few events, some
That's
private
what I
events.
wanted to ask you. Do you do
Yeah.
events all over the world, and also which locations have you been to that you felt really spiritually connected, that were really powerful? And so, can you tell us about that, please?
Yeah, well, Virgin Islands definitely. You
Mhm.
know, I have a real love for St. John, uh, and they had the big slave revolt there, and it's such an interesting island.
Wow.
So the energy there is a mixture of energy, but being with the water and being, it just really raises my vibration. And I've done a few private events there, but that's kind of where I connect. The Virgin Islands is really my kind of like go to for spirit. But I also go there to balance too, and kind of that's my place to kind of, you know, get in touch and maybe do yoga by the ocean, and just kind of relax and meditate. And you know, the ocean, there's a reason we're drawn to it, and I just you know, I love it. But yeah, we've done, you know, I've done different things in different states. I'm not a big, you know, and people, you know, sometimes they find this, you know, maybe strange, but I'm not a big out in front of the audience kind of person. I really prefer one-on-one client people. It took a lot to get me to do some gallery work. I like gallery, but it's a very different energy for me. And being, I call myself kind of still a medium in training, because I'm not. Um, I'm very comfortable with my gift, but you know, I think the people that get out there and do that night after night, I have to admire them, because I just haven't learned to adapt that energy quite yet. Maybe the more that you do it, you do, but
Okay.
it's hard for me. And it really drains me to do that. And I can't imagine doing that like on a full time basis. Like, you know, Teresa Caputo travels, and I know James Von Prawn, those
James
guys.
on Prague. Yeah, I watched his. I think every episode of his series on Gaia, and
Yeah,
I watched him on YouTube. He seems to really thrive on that, and he also has like a million courses out. He's got a large body of work. I really like him a lot.
yeah, yeah.
But I really think it's important to be drawn, like really drawn to, excited about what it is that you're doing. Like if
Yeah,
you're not excited about it, even though it's an aspect of spirituality, and then it isn't your calling.
right.
You know what I'm saying? Like I am really called to do these interviews. And interestingly, when I had my reading, my private psychic reading with Jonathan, with Elaine Thorpe and Jonathan Hunter, her spirit guide. I know you know them because you
Oh,
interviewed them.
yes.
And so I don't know if you've ever seen my private interview. I have my private reading. I have part of it on YouTube.
I have.
And okay, cool. So where Jonathan says, you know, you're going to be doing these interviews on TV, and I'm like, I thought he meant this. I
Yeah.
said, I'm already kind of doing that. You know, I'm on YouTube. I'm not on, yeah, I am on YouTube, but I'm mostly on Facebook right now. And he goes, no, TV. And
Yeah.
I don't know. I believe that will manifest. But after he said that to me, what it did was it validated where I was. It
Oh, yeah.
validated where I was and what I was doing, and that this excitement that I feel about doing this, it really is the right thing to do, you
Yeah.
know. And I'm really not the right. It's not a right and a wrong thing, but a thing that's a really positive thing on my path. And that anyway, I don't know how I got there, but I just think it's really exciting. I actually wanted to ask you about Elaine and Jonathan because um, your interview with Elaine. I'm a little prejudiced now because I've interviewed them twice, and I think they're the best interviews ever.
They
But
are.
honestly, thank you. But before I interviewed them, and I still adore it. I've watched it several times. Your interview with Elaine and Jonathan, and so you want to talk a little bit about that? And
Yeah, you know, I just kind of, I know it's funny. I met Elaine by accident, and again, you know, one of those people that you just kind of meet, and we connected. And then I had a reading with Jonathan. I didn't really, you know, because here in the States, we're not as into the trance work as they are in the UK, I don't
okay,
feel. I just feel it's more mainstream there. People understand it more. I feel here we're starting to open up to it and be introduced to it. But I think, at least on my end, I feel like sometimes people are afraid of it because they don't understand the process. So when you have an average, like I know some of the comments in the beginning I got, uh, from some of my questions were, oh, that's so much like possession because they don't understand. So, we kind of did I kind of went back and did on one of my Facebooks, I kind of did a little thing on trance, so they could understand what was actually happening. But yeah, I love them and I connected with them. And I believe, Elaine is just evolving. I think she is going big places. And
Oh yeah.
I believe that we are introduced to things, it's just like, I'm not saying, maybe I will at some point be traveling all over the United States and maybe I will be doing galleries and, I certainly can. I know that I can do it. Um, but, I think as synchronicity happens and your timing is right, I think certain people come into your life. I know my readings have certainly changed from the first reading that I've done
Right.
now. I know that now I'm getting more into, the mediumship end. I'm doing a lot of workshops. I'm doing a lot of teaching because that helps me too. I learn from my students.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
Everyone. So you're teaching as well.
I teach as well. I offer workshops and, psychic development. And because I think it's even for the beginner or people that have an interest in it, you don't have to be a psychic to take a workshop. I think it's good to teach people how to ground and how to meditate, and really how to become more spiritual, So we cover all that in our workshops. And, I teach tarot workshops and I co teach a workshop on ghost hunting, which has been very successful with my
Oh, that's interesting.
um, but yeah, so in the whole trance thing with Elaine and Jonathan, I mean, I think she's just, it's hard for me to say she's just evolving, but I think she's just evolving on where she's going to be. I think she could be. I don't know if you're familiar with Esther
Mr.
Hicks and
Hicks.
Abraham.
Oh, I've seen them twice this year. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I saw them in
So
Miami and Orlando. I'm a huge fan.
yeah, and I could
Yeah,
see Elaine doing that someday, should she
me too.
choose.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
I really, truly believe that. So, but she, as you said, she has to want to do it too, because it's kind of I found that spirit really has moved me to in directions that I never would have went. I'm a very introverted, shy person, so for
Okay.
me to get on stage with 300 people.
Awesome.
That was a big move. I kept telling my husband, what if they don't show up? And he's saying they'll show up. And I'm like, but what if they don't? He says, well, then you'll tap dance, twirl a baton, you'll do something. But they came, so I guess that's where I was supposed to be when I was supposed to
They
be.
came, they saw, you conquered.
That's it. And that's all I was, but it took me probably 30 days to recover after that. I almost had a heart attack the night before.
Oh my
So it
god.
was like, it was like one of those things that was kind of crazy. But yeah, but it went well once I got out there and got, comfortable. And I think as we get more comfortable in our own skin and we become more comfortable with our gifts, I think that, that's really where, we gain that courage, and you have to learn to trust. And if you don't have the trust, I always, tell my students this: if you don't trust in that inner knowing, you'll never be a good medium or a good psychic. Because if you can't trust in that information and just deliver it the way they give it to you, and believe me, I've gotten some pretty crazy stuff. uh, you'll never be any good. And it's hard for me, at least. It's hard. I haven't always trusted, and there's sometimes I still question, but I think that's kind of where Elaine is. I think she knows she's really good, but she's so humble.
Oh,
And
she's amazing.
yeah, she's
She's so
so,
humble. I just got my first piece of art from her. It's on its way here. She posted it, I think, yesterday or the day before. I'm really excited.
yeah, I have a piece of hers, and
I've
I
always
have,
heard you talk about it. I've never seen the piece though.
you what?
I've never seen it. I've heard you talk about it.
Yeah, it's on my Facebook page, and I have it, and I'll have to show it to you. But yeah, she did a lovely piece for me, and yeah, so I love them, and I love Elaine. I love Jonathan. Like I said, I think she's really. I've seen her grow in the past year just immensely. I mean, she's really went to kind of some new places, and they're just such an interesting interview. And I think people are always, always craving that wisdom and knowledge that they have.
Jonathan's been talking a lot about the future, about 2020.
Yeah.
Corner. In fact, she just recorded something, I think it was just yesterday, where Jonathan was specifically talking about the energy. And I'm not going to get into that at all right now. But
Yes.
if you haven't already seen it, or anybody else watching, because most of my viewers, they know, they love Elaine as well, and Jonathan as well. So yeah. And I know you do, because your interview is so great. If you guys have not seen Charla Acker's interview with Elaine,
thank you.
See it. It's on YouTube. I really mean it. It's an amazing interview. It's the best one on YouTube besides mine.
It was a lot of fun.
Oh my God, it was wonderful.
It was a lot of fun. And
you
like I
interviewed her again.
Yeah, I've interviewed her, I think 2 or 3 times, but yeah, I don't get to keep up as much as I'd like with them because of my schedule. It gets hard sometime. But yeah, I always try to catch things on my downtime on YouTube or whatever. And she's starting to get really good at that. So I think her son's helping her a little bit now. So he's posting a lot more up there for her. And so, yeah.
I want to ask you, so I heard you talk about this, and I think this is really unusual. And I saw pictures of it on your website. You collect Ouija boards. Am I right?
Yeah,
why? And have you ever had any experiences with something coming with the board? Or tell me about this, because I've never known anybody to collect Ouija boards before.
It was really funny. I was very drawn to Ouija boards ever since a child. I think that was just part of my training. I experienced, I used to take classes on automatic writing, and strange enough, at some time in my journey, there was a class on Ouija boards, and I was just fascinated by them. And then of course we had all the movies that came out that told us how bad Ouija boards were.
Right.
I'm kind of a different belief. I kind of believe there, a Ouija board or a pendulum, anything can be bad if we have the wrong intention to it and we don't know what we're doing. But I do, probably when I was little, I Ouija'd. But I just...
I Ouija'd.
I just started collecting them. I was just fascinated, by the old boards and the energy I would feel in them. But I'm going to be real honest. I've never felt anything negative. I don't feel that kind of energy. So I had, at one time, I probably had 30 or 40 in my home. And people would say, "Oh my God," And at one time, I even had them in my office, and my tabletop is actually a woman had made, her grandfather had cut down a 200-year-old butternut tree. Wow. And she she planed them, and then she had made Ouija boards out of these beautiful pieces of wood, and she made me a big tabletop. So that's actually my reading top. So my reading top is like a Ouija board. And it's funny because you'll see some clients come in and they look at that and they look at me like, I don't know about this, but it's just kind of, I don't know. I just had this uncanny interest in it. And, I don't know. I just love the energy in the boards. But like I said, my boards, I've never acquired anything negative in them. So I always, used Holy Palo Santo on them when I brought them in and kind of cleansed them. But yeah, but now
a bunch of myth behind it. It's all there is. A bunch of myth and hype behind, they're evil or whatever. Yeah. And honestly, I think like a lot of people that use them to connect to spirit are not experienced at all with connecting to spirit or protection or having a high vibration, because I know that we have a high vibration. We're not a vibrational match to anything that's negative.
Yeah. People ask me that all the time, and you probably get asked that question. I mean, what do you do when the bad things come in? I don't draw that kind of energy to me.
Neither do I. No, nobody even asks me that, honestly.
Really? I don't. No. I don't feel that. I don't want to feel that. It's funny when sometimes clients come in, they'll say, I don't want to be told anything bad. Well, I'm not going to tell you anything bad because that's not going to help heal you, transform you, or give you clarity. I'm going to tell you the good things and things that we can change and have the ability to change. It doesn't do me any good, even if I could see it, which I can't, to tell me somebody's going to die or you're going to get in a car accident. What does that do to somebody?
That would put a bug in their head, and that they would actually could cause them to die. Yes, because once you implant that thought, I would never, I'm very picky about who I receive a reading from anyway. But if anybody ever thinks about, I know most of my viewers are readers as well. And don't ever tell anybody something like that, even if you see it, You don't
Oh
want
my.
to do that
Yeah.
because even people that are like terminal, listen, not even 2 years ago, I just saw a Facebook memory. I was going through chemotherapy. I had stage 4 lymphoma. I don't have cancer. I'm totally healthy. But if somebody told me I was going to die, maybe I don't think I would have believed it. But well, maybe at the time I might have. My doctor said, no, I don't even want to hear you say that. He
Yeah.
was like a high vibrational guy, but he was stubborn. He's like, I'm not going to lose you on my watch.
Yeah.
But then I raised my vibration, and I really think that if people are fed things like that, that they're going to believe, they
Well,
could.
thought is a powerful, powerful thing, and we really, there's the old adage, likes attracts likes. Well, there's a reason for that. What we vibrate, what we put out there is what we draw to us.
Yeah,
So you have
yeah.
to be careful. And I will tell you this: I remember when I was young, in
Mhm.
my early 20s, and I, like many people, going to psychics and going to mediums. I still, to this day, remember some things that psychics had said to me that I still worry about today, and I'm 55 years old. So and that's what I tell people, you don't know how something will affect you. There's a huge responsibility with this work.
Right. Mhm.
You don't want to tell somebody something that they're going to go out and worry about, and 30 years later they're still thinking about it, and it happens every day. I always tell people, if a psychic's telling you something like you're going to die, you're going to get in an auto accident, or you have a curse, get up and
Mhm.
run, don't walk.
Right.
You know,
Absolutely. I tell everybody, take what resonates and leave the rest behind. And frankly, if anybody, like you said, if someone's telling you to anything horrible like that, just leave, because you don't, I mean, that's just BS.
it
But
is
I'm
crazy.
talking about, like, if someone's telling you something, even anything, and it doesn't resonate with you, just let it go. But never put yourself intentionally in the way of someone that's telling you negative things, or, I don't even want to go there. But you understand. I know you understand. I know we're saying the same thing, right?
We truly are, because I always tell my clients too. That's what I say. A reading's like kind of, I don't even give time frames with things, because it's so individualized and it's so up to the client. I always say it's like a lottery ticket. I give you the ticket. You can choose to cash it in, not cash it in. Some people cash it in right away. Other people wait. It's all about free will and choice. And as I tell everyone, you always have free will. I don't tell you what or how to do things in a reading.
Sure.
That is not my
Absolutely.
job. I don't believe that's any psychic or medium's job. It's not about telling you what to do or how to do it. It's to give you options and pathways, and you choose what works best for you. That's truly what I believe, and that's why I believe this work is so important, and education is so important. And that's why I offer classes, because not only do I want to give my clients the tools, but I also want you to have the tools on your own, because we all have the ability to connect. It's just that we're going to get out of it what we put into it.
Absolutely.
I've studied and I've learned, and like I said, I continue, and I put a lot of dedication and work. And I said, it's kind of like going to the gym. If you go once a week, you're not going to get much out of it. If you go 3-4 times a week and you're pumping that iron, you're going to look pretty good. Yeah. So same way with the reading and
Yeah.
psychically, right? I
Mhm.
mean, if we put the energy and the work into it, we're gonna get. I feel we're gonna get that back, because it's not something that. I remember when I was sitting in a development circle years and years ago, and we were doing something on spirit guides, and
Okay.
I expected my spirit guide to come down and say, "Charla, I'm John, and I'm here." And I'm sitting here like, what am I doing wrong? Because I'm not feeling anything. Well, I was going about it all the wrong way. you
Um,
know it was more, now my spirit guides, I don't even put a name on them. It's just a sense of, I know them. I know when they're there, because it's a sense of a feeling. So it comes very subtle, and you really have to learn how to you know figure that all out, and that takes time, and that takes
I
work.
I so have to tell you this. Okay, so I have this awesome long page, right? So I crossed everything out because I've
Yeah.
already asked you this thing. And the only thing that I just circled, right, was spirit guides, because I didn't ask you about that yet. And you just started talking about it.
Yeah.
You're totally psychic. Oh my gosh. I'm not
You
even
are.
kidding. The one thing I haven't asked you yet is about spirit guides. I circled it so I can remember before we did the readings to ask you about that. And you went right into it.
Yeah,
I
it's
love
just
this.
my spirit guides. I always tell people I love to meditate, but I also
Mm.
love sitting in the power as well. And
Tell
that's
me
the reason.
about that. I've heard you say that many times, and now I need you to explain what that is, please.
Okay, setting in the power is very different than a traditional meditation for me. It's still a meditation, but what it is we set in the power, go into meditation, but we start to fill our body with white energy. And then once our body is filled with our
Mhm.
own white energy, we start to expand that energy field out. And we keep it out. And what we're really doing in that moment of expanding our energy out is we're seeing how our body feels and what we're like, and then at some point when we feel comfortable, what you do is you invite spirit in. So you invite your guides to come closer.
Mhm.
You invite them, and I'm going to use the guides because that's simplest to understand,
Sure.
but you envision white light all around the room, and then you ask your guides to come in and come closer, and then you set. That's what we call setting in the power. You set, and you, as you invite your guides in, then you start to notice changes and physical changes in your body. I mean, sometimes people get the chills, they get cold, they'll feel something in their back, they'll receive messages, but there are distinct feelings that you get throughout your body, that will let you know that spirit is there, or you're like, for me, my guide is there. That's how I became familiar with my guide. It was more a sense of a feeling now. I just know because I start getting, my toes start tingling, and I start getting the chills in a different way. I can't, it's kind of like from the inside out.
Okay.
And then I know my guide is here and I'm ready to work. But it's funny because I get a guide for mediumship, and then I get a guide for intuitiveness.
Oh,
Uh,
really?
so both. So
Okay.
I work with two different ones, but I don't really label them.
Mhm.
I just kind of know and I trust. I guess we can name them if we want, if they don't mind. But I feel like on the other side, they're not really concerned with that. I
You
just,
know, people like the labels, but I'm one of those people too. I happen to like. I did ask. I tried to go with the the more ethereal. Oh, I don't need to know your name, but I really wanted to know the name.
yeah,
And it's interesting. So they told me Elon, and this was like last year when I first started meditating, and I had no confirmation of this. This just came to me, and I thought, okay, maybe I'm making it up, maybe I'm not. I don't know. But then when I had that reading with Jonathan, and I
uh-huh.
said, can you talk to me about my spirit guides? And he talked to me about Amatron, right, with this outer being. But then he also said, your spirit guide's name is Elandra. I'm like, oh my gosh.
That crazy. Yeah.
Elandra, hello. Whoa.
Yeah, isn't that, it gives you the chills. But yeah, I just felt like that wasn't important to me. And I don't know, are you familiar with Emma Mather?
The artist, the spiritual
Yes.
artist. Yeah,
Yes.
I'm just recent. I've never talked to her. Like we're communicating.
Well,
Elaine mentioned her just recently. Do you have a picture?
I had her do. Yeah. So hang
Oh,
on one second.
I'd love to see it. Okay, so Emma Mather, she's on Facebook. You must follow her if you're not
Oh yeah.
following her already. She's a spiritual artist. She paints and draws your guides. I don't know all her details yet. I might invite her on my show one of these days. I was just thinking about that today. But Charlotte's going to show us right now.
Yeah, she did two. She
Oh,
did one for my husband, and
okay.
she did, and I've interviewed Emma. And we have an
Oh,
interview
okay.
coming up with Emma. But I had a picture done, and
Mhm.
this is what she depicted as my guide. And his name was Jonathan, I believe. Or no, what? Jeez, I'm sorry, but I forget because see, I don't place the names
Oh,
on them. I
wow.
have the information
Mhm.
upstairs, but that was one of my guides that I work with, that she picked. And then I
Okay.
had her do a painting for my husband, which
Mhm.
interesting, but look at this beauty. So that was his guide.
Oh,
And
wow.
then she gives you like a really nice bio with them. Uh,
That is amazing.
yeah, it
That is
really is.
amazing.
Yeah, so it was cool. So that's kind of like the first thing that, we all have what we think or what we want our guides to look like. I feel like we have so many that come in and out. I have two main ones I think that stay with me or that I work with, but
Mhm.
yeah, I just, for some people, and I'm okay with that. If you need to know their name or put a whole story to them, but I feel for me it's more important to be able to trust them and be able to know when they're there, or when they're not. More importantly, because if they're not there, I can't work. So that's more important for me, and I've been doing a lot more of really setting in the power and really, really learning to trust. And it's shown. When I got back from St. John and I did readings, I mean, they
Mhm.
went to a whole new level. So, I believe that the work that you put in, I believe what you put in is what you get out of it. So, you just don't wake up one day and take a tarot class and you're a tarot reader. There's so much more to it. Um,
Absolutely.
and that's just, I just want people to educate themselves, and because we have such a service to deliver to people, and there's so many good things that we can do with this work if we're doing it properly.
Yes.
And I just want to kind of spread and raise it. And I've met so many wonderful people on Facebook, such as yourself and Elaine and Emma. Sometimes I say social media I don't like. It should be for puppy dogs and recipes. But look what we're able to do.
It's incredible. It's incredible, Charlotte.
Yeah.
Social media. But you know what? Honestly, I let go of that whole that thought the thought that social media was negative. That thought didn't serve me, so I let it go.
Yeah.
Social media. Look at the power. Look, we're connecting worldwide. We couldn't have done this before without it. So it's a huge blessing. And for me, as you know, we're both into vibration and frequency and
Yeah.
being a vibrational match. And so does it serve us to think that social media is negative, right? No. And you know what? Since I changed my beliefs about social media, almost everything on my timeline is positive.
Yeah.
Or neutral at the very worst. Of course, I did block a lot of people, but still.
Well, again, it's about
Okay.
intention. I think if you have the right intention with things, social media has been a blessing for me because, that's really my Facebook is how I connect. And, I'm able to bring people like you and Elaine and Emma and look at the amazing work that you do. I mean, it really is. It's amazing. And thank you for doing it because, every time we can do an interview where we can, bring somebody on, there's people out there being helped, and we're really making it explode. So
It's true. I've been very, very blessed to have people tell me, and then you can even see when you're friends with people on social media, how their posts change, how they evolve.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
and you know that you planted a seed, and
Absolutely.
we're spreading the love. And so it's so important.
Yeah, and doesn't it make you feel so good? I mean,
Unbelievable.
just the love and the joy of, and people have a hard time understanding that. It's not, it's for me, it's not about, obviously you have to make a living, but it's not about money. It's just about I, I don't know. It's about what goes on inside of you. My readings not only help my clients, but it's helped me to become so much more passionate, humble, have compassion for people.
Yeah.
It's really caused me, and I truly, truly mean this, every client has touched my heart in one way or another. They have taught me as much or given me as much as I hope that I've given them. And I couldn't be more blessed. And I think when we can move ego away and we really see what it's all about, and we um I don't know, for me, I couldn't think of doing anything else now. It's just, this is my life, and I love it.
Awesome. Well, you're doing an amazing job, and it's
Well,
such a
thank you.
pleasure that you're here with me today. So I'm going to go get some water, but when we come back, we already have 3 donations. Let me see if we have any more. Guys and ladies and gentlemen, all of our beautiful soul tribe and soul family, if you would like a reading today, maybe a double reading or a single reading, it's going to be whoever comes through from both Charla and myself. I'm honored to be able to read with you today. This is fun. This is exciting.
Yeah.
And in the past, I tried to just feature my guest, and they're like, "No, read with me." And then I'm like, "You know what? Yeah, let's do that." Because you know what? It made me think of the old, the shows, the variety shows in the past, where there's 2 people that you love them both, and they're singing together or whatever. I'm like, yeah, it's more fun this way.
Absolutely.
So
And
yeah, if you want a reading, just to donate any amount to the PayPal link below, and it will be our pleasure to read for you.
yeah.
And I will be right back. I am going to
Okay.
get some water and chat amongst yourselves.
Yes. We'll just chat.
Okay. Be right back. such a good boy. And you're such a good girl. Oh, goodness. How's that for timing, huh?
Yeah.
Hey, everybody.
Oh, boy.
All right. So, guys, if you want a psychic reading today, we're doing donate readings for a donation of any amount. Of course, if you share it out and we have time, you may get a free psychic reading today as well. So be sure to share this out.
I don't know why I couldn't share it out.
I don't know. Or maybe, you know what? Oh,
Am I hitting a wrong button?
You can't share it from Be Live. You have to go to Facebook directly.
Okay.
If you go to Facebook, you will be able to access the video, the live stream, and then you can share it to whoever you want. I need to remember to tell that to my guests, because a lot of times people try to share it from Be Live, and there's no way to do it that way.
That's what I did. So that was my fault.
Sorry, I should have told you.
No, that's okay.
But and I know I tried to share it to Tarot Impressions by Charla and your personal, but they won't let me, and that's okay. I don't blame you. I have my settings that people have to, they can't just post to my wall.
Yeah.
Randomly. Club soda on my glasses. So everyone, we are so excited to be doing readings for you today. So I am going to take out my oracle cards, but I've noticed recently spirits just working directly through me.
Yeah, that's how I've been. I don't know what it is. I mean, it's just, it kind of just comes to me. So, big questions. And I realize too, it's a holiday weekend. So a lot of people are probably.
You're right. Because a lot of people are going to watch this on the replay, because we're missing like a lot of people right now. And I was wondering where they are, and it's a holiday.
Yeah, I was thinking that, I was thinking, it's Memorial Day. That's why.
Yeah, you're right.
Right? Yeah, but let me see. I'm still trying here.
Do you know what?
I had it and then I lost it. So there it is. Okay, share.
You know what? I actually could have. Well, it's too late now. I was gonna. Oh, thank you for sharing. Thank you. Sherry says I don't need my cards anymore either. Yeah, I get it. That's what I have, my cards, and I shuffle them and occasionally Spirit asks me to pull one, but most of the time I wind up not even using them at all. But I love my cards still. It's like my security blanket. I shuffle them. I have them, but most of the time I really don't need them now. But sometimes it's good to have that visual. Sometimes, what am I showing? Belonging. I love that. Find your pack.
Now, what's the name of that one?
The card or the
cards?
They're called the Divine Dog Wisdom cards. Hang on, I'll show you. Divine. I love dogs so much. Look at that. Divine Dog Wisdom cards. They are so cute. They are literally so cute. Look at that.
Those are great.
Find your pack. So wasn't resonating with any other card decks back when I first started, and I thought, I saw this on Amazon. I'm like, I have to have it. And because I felt that passion, I knew it was meant for me. And it's
awesome.
You
go with that inner knowing. But I finally was able to share it to my page. So
yeah, awesome.
Well, a little late, but it's okay.
Better late than never. I don't know where that came from, but yeah. So thank you very much. We have donations from Sherry Collins, Honey Thorne, Rowena Putt. Thank you all so very much.
Yeah.
And again, if you would like an amazing psychic reading today, go ahead and share this out. And if you donate any amount, you're guaranteed a psychic reading today. And if you share it out, you're guaranteed for a chance for a free reading today, too.
Yeah.
All right. So first up is, so make sure that you tell us that you're here. Sherry Collins is going to be first. And here it is. There she is. Wonderful Sherry Collins. Hello, Sherry. It's a pleasure to see you today. And I'm going to let you start off, if that's all right.
Yep.
And here, let me just take the names down so you can just focus on.
Okay. Does she have a specific question or just kind of wanting general?
Good question. Hey, guys, if you want a specific question answered or a specific topic, let us know. And let me look and see if anybody has any questions.
That's okay.
Looking for Sherry Collins. Sherry says hi. Hello.
Hi.
Let me see. Am I looking backwards or forwards? I think I'm going I'm going the right way. Okay, so Sherry's saying hi, so she's still here. She said I don't need my cards anymore either. Sherry, do you have a question? Rowena, honey, do you ladies have a question? Let us know.
And I can just kind of do a general when I'm kind of feeling.
That's what we're going to do because I'm not seeing anything business. Ah, there we go. All right.
Okay. So I don't know if she's, I feel a lot of change and transition coming to her on a spiritual level. So I feel like, I don't know if she has a spiritual business or works in service work of some way, but I feel dynamics of her work changing or something being added to it. So I do feel like this would be service work for me. Now, folks, let me tell you what service work for me is, because I have my own psychic directory. They show me anything service work for me would be the work that I'm doing. That would be the work of service. That would also be people that work in healthcare, counseling with animals, children. So that covers a broad spectrum for me. But I feel a lot of spiritual awakening around Sherry, and I just feel like we were talking early, when the students ready, the teachers will come. So
Yeah.
I feel like really watching people that are coming in to your surroundings or being, because I do feel, again, I feel like there is going to be some new direction coming, or some additions coming to what you're already doing. And I feel this is really positive. So again, I want to say, trust that inner knowing. People that have a reading with me, I always tell them, Spirit gave us a good GPS system. It's called our inner knowing. But when we learn to trust it, that's really when things can really kind of explode. Pay attention to those intuitive nudges as well. And sometimes, things come to me, and maybe I should see a certain person. I should, you know, uh, do a certain event, and I'll put it down, but it keeps coming back and coming back and coming back. And every place I turn, I keep getting that same feeling or thought. That's kind of what I feel with you too. A lot of intuitive nudges. So pay attention to that, particularly when it comes to your business or dynamic of business.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Charla.
Oh, yeah.
For you, Sherry Collins. Of course, if it resonates with you, it's for you as well. And that's for Sherry. And I happen to know Sherry a bit, and I do know she's in spiritual work. You're nailed that.
Good.
And I did pull a card. I was drawn to pull a card, and it's in reverse. Sherry, and it's creativity, play your own song. Hang on a second. Let me see what Spirit wants to tell me about this. Somehow I see you standing in your kitchen. And there's on the counter, you're looking at your cards. You have cards. And you're looking at and you're asking for direction. You're asking for guidance. You're looking outside of yourself. You're looking outside of yourself for something that you need to seek within. It's your own. Spirit is showing me that right now the cards are representing something external. They're representing something external, and they're making me feel like you're getting the knowing of what it is, but you're not really trusting. I feel like trust is a significant issue for you to take that next step. There is transition happening, Sherry. But it's for you need to trust. You need to trust and just know that you are aligned, that you are connected, and in that knowing, you will find that bond with your guides, with that security, and you won't feel the need to throw the cards for yourself so often, because you're going to know in your soul that this is what it is. Yeah.
Perfect. I couldn't agree with that more. We just learned to, we have to learn to really trust that inner knowing. And that can be very fearful. At least for me, it can be scary. And what's that old saying? Fear is false ego appearing real.
Or false evidence appearing real. Either way, the whole.
Yeah, and the other one, the other great quote I love, and I don't know where it originally came from, but the 3 C's of life: don't be afraid to take a chance, to make a choice, to bring about change. Chance, choice, change. Yeah, and I think that's really good. But change or moving forward or trusting, that can be really hard, can't it? Because
it can be a challenge.
Yeah, it can be hard. So understand it, but I couldn't agree more. Really learning to get in touch with that inner being and really listening and do it. I always say, if we're driving the bus and we go down the wrong road, well, we just put it in reverse and back it up.
I love that. Well, thank you so much. Thank you, Charla, and thank you, Sherry, so much for your donation and for allowing us to read for you today. It's been our pleasure. Excellent. Thank you, Rowena, for sharing. And let me take a look and see who is next. Give me one moment. Next up is Honey Thorn. All right, Honey Thorn. Thank you so much, dear, for your generous donation. And let me find your name. Now, do you have a question, Honey? Let me see if Honey has a question. Sherry was saying, I'm excited to launch my 2 courses. Awesome.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yep. That's beautiful, Sherry. I'd love to hear that. Let's take a look. And Sherry said, I do have a great bond with my guides and archangels. It's hard sometimes. Sometimes the, I don't like to say anything is hard. Sometimes the feed on Be Live is not even close to where it is with Facebook. So it's very much delayed. That's what I'm trying to say. It's delayed.
Gotcha.
Gotcha. Let's take a look. Hi, William McOwen. Glad that you're here. Gino Martin, thank you for joining us. Rachel, hello. Okay, let's take a look. And Rowena, here we go. No, wait, Rowena's not. No, Honey is first, and then Rowena. Okay, hang on. Let me find Honey. Honey, na 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 na.
I remember that.
Love that song. All right, Honey Thorn. Any advice from my guides will do. Awesome.
Well, honey, I think guides are a very personal journey and a personal experience. And I feel it's through meditation, actually, can become more aware of our guides. I feel like it's important that if you're wanting to get more in tune with your guides or see what the guides have to tell you, I feel like spending time in meditation is where you need to go with that. Because like I said, it's a personal journey. Now, aside from that, I just feel like with you, I do feel like there's some, I want to say junk in the trunk that you need to get rid of. I feel like there's some things that you need to clean out, especially when it comes to relationships and relationships around you. I feel a lot of maybe evaluating people that, what I call them, psychic suckers. They kind of take our energy away. That's that one person that when you're see them walking down the hall, because they vibrate so negatively, you want to turn and run the other way because they're kind of draining. So I feel like you need to kind of evaluate some of the relationships around you. And I'm not saying get rid of those relationships, but maybe change the way that you react or interact with them, because I feel relationships around you, not all of them real healthy. So I feel like 2 I really need to focus on. So just kind of be aware of that.
That's amazing, Charla. Actually, just this morning, Honey went live, right? And I was chatting with her, and guess what we were talking about?
Relationships and toxic relationships
people. And how she's high vibe now, and she's like disconnected from like some family, and
yeah. So and I always
you're feeling there's still 2 family or 2. I might even be family. I'm feeling that you're right. There's 2 relationships still with her that are close, but that they're like vibrating down here. Is that what you're feeling?
Yeah. And I kind of feel like, and I always say, when people are in transition or change, whether it be like spiritual transition and change, where we are starting to lift the vibration, because folks, it doesn't happen overnight. Right. I mean, it takes some time, and it takes a lot of work, and it takes a lot of hard looking at yourself and changing things. And that's hard to do, so I'm aware of that. But, as our vibration, and boy, I'm getting the chills. That means, I don't know. Means maybe mediumship is around, but I have to say, as we lift that vibration, eventually people will kind of fall back. Maybe if we're interacting with people on a regular basis, but they're vibrationally lower and we're higher, well, we can't bring them into our vibrational field. So you will notice people kind of move away from you. But sometimes I say it's maybe not such a good idea to wait till that vibration's high and they move away on their own. Sometimes we need to kind of maybe interject and kind of take a few steps back with that. And I have to also, for some reason, honey, I keep getting the name Michael around you for some reason. So I don't know if you have an association to Michael, but I just keep seeing that name. all in front of you.
Let me see. Honey is saying, thank you so much. Yes, agreed. Do you have a Michael around you, honey? That's interesting. And if you get any mediumship, just interrupt me.
Yeah, I will. Yeah.
Because I love that. That's very cool. I don't specifically talking about like things that people aren't. I don't know. See, I like maybe I'm where you were back in 2016. Even though everybody's like, no, you're a medium because you're, and I know I do connect, but I don't specifically feel drawn to
do that.
Bring that. I don't feel drawn. That's exactly what it is. I love doing the readings, and I feel it for myself like a much more global feeling to connect with a lot of people about a message more than I feel like there's a lot of great mediums.
There are, and it's but it's something that I feel like if we're supposed to do it, and that's what Spirit wants us to do, it'll happen.
Right.
But it'll happen in their time, not necessarily our time. And that's why I kind of, I just don't resist anymore. I kind of, if, opportunity comes and I resonate with it and it feels good, I kind of move it. But if not, I kind of step back a little bit. But, mediumship is hard. And, like I said, I think because I love the shows that are on TV. I used to love the John Edward Crossing Over, and I used to, I love Teresa Caputo's show. There's so many now. But, because of those shows too, I think sometimes people come in with unrealistic expectations. I think those shows are good because they bring you awareness, and they are putting awareness out there. Another very gifted medium, Monica Tenkate. I don't know if you're
not familiar with her.
Yeah, she was, I believe, from Penn State. She's a very young medium, but I saw her in Virginia, and oh my God, just wonderful, just out of this world. She would just blow you away. But there are a lot of gifted people out there.
Ooh, honey, look at this, Charla. Honey says, I've been given the name Michael in a reading from Jonathan.
Yeah, that's interesting because that name is quite important around you. So I don't know how that's coming into play right now, but boy, pay attention to that. And I've also found pay attention to middle names as well, because it could be a John Michael, it could be. Hi there, Kitty. Was that a kitty that walked
Trixie.
by?
Yep, that's Trixie Boo.
Yeah, it could be like John. Michael doesn't necessarily have to be the first name. It could be the middle name for me, but that name is very important around you. And I feel like this is something coming into your life. In a very important relationship. So, I think it's around the corner. So I'm not saying necessarily a love interest, but this person is going to have some influence and great help for you.
Interesting. Thank you so much for that. And I did pull 2 cards. I'm feeling cards today. So there they go. All right. So I've got vulnerability. I just love these cards. Vulnerability, the strength to show yourself. Look at the belly up.
Yeah.
And then the other card is in reverse. It's in reverse, and it is self-worth. Love what you see. And I feel this is very strongly that you are still, actually you are I'm feeling very belly up, very vulnerable still. I mean, you are practicing your high vibration and you're doing awesome, but you're very vulnerable to outside influences still. And I understand why you want to, remove people from your life. That's a very, it can be a very healthy thing to do, very cathartic, I'm feeling as well. But I feel like the people that are still in your life that you're receiving like little, like I'm hearing jibs and jabs, whatever that means, jibs and jabs of negativity. And it hurts. This is what it's hurting. It's hurting your self-worth. It's affecting your self-worth because I feel like you're at the beginning of your spiritual journey. Not really. I mean, I feel like you have a lot of gifts, but I do, on the other hand, I also feel like you're practicing now, living a more high vibrational life. I know actually for a fact that you are. We talked about that particular thing this morning. And so I definitely feel like hang on, let me see what Spirit's showing me. They're showing me like 2 humans and then frequency in between them, frequency shared in between them. And then some of the vibrations are higher and some of them are lower. And I'm hearing like lower chakras. That there's definitely people that you're connected to at this point that are still very much focusing in their three-dimensional world in the lower chakras. They're not up here yet, and that's okay for them. Don't worry about them. Focus on where you are. You can't, if you look at someone else, someone that think of how out of alignment they are, that brings you out of alignment. So, and it's not your job to change them or fix them or elevate them. It's your job just to be your best self. To be your best self, to stand in your authenticity, to stand in your power, and to connect, right?
Yeah, let me add, she is a fixer. She tries to control everything. So, and then that's, I used to be a fixer, I used to think, and I always say, just because people don't do things the way that we feel they should do them, or we don't agree with it, or we don't understand it, doesn't make it wrong for them. So it's really, we got to get out of our own way, get out of our I call it my selfish way of thinking now, because I feel like, just because it's right for me doesn't make it right for you, and doesn't make it wrong for you. So, I find too that you need to kind of move out of your own way a little bit, work on you and work on your energy, and, really allow people to take their own responsibility for the things that they need to do. Believe me, you will move volumes by doing that. So.
Yes, very well said. Thank you, Charla. Okay, well, thank you so much, honey. I hope that resonated with you, my dear. And from basically you said, I fully understand, and that's why I believe it did.
Yeah.
And she says, my hubby says that. Oh, that she's a fixer. That must be what she's referring to, because I feel that too.
Yeah.
Awesome. Do
you think that's human nature? We all want to fix things, or
no? But I do think it's a very an empathic trait that's common.
Yeah.
I was that person too. And in fact, but you know what? It does help us. When I use the word help, there's like quotation marks. It helps us to not focus on ourselves, to focus on other people. Well, I'm trying to fix you. I'm trying to make you something that I'm not looking at myself.
Right. I have to face those own issues and own demons. Yep. Yeah.
So when you change yourself and you look at yourself honestly, remove your attention from other people and trying to make them this way or that. Just be that beacon of light. It's to show me that the lighthouse with the light. They're showing me just to standing. They're showing me that phrase, standing in your power, is coming up a lot today. But to stand in your power, to stand in your authenticity is what I always say. And to be that beacon of light and let people come to you. The lighthouse doesn't go out and rescue the ships. Oh, thank you. That's pretty good.
Yeah, that was good.
They go out to rescue the ships. They come, they see the ships see the light, and then they know to guide themselves accordingly. This is powerful. And that's what they're trying. That's what Spirit's telling you today. I got chills.
Isn't that awesome? Yeah.
Thank you for
sharing. I love that.
Thank you. I love it too. Oh, thank you. Gratitude.
Where does this stuff come from, right?
I know where it's coming from. I don't know their names. All right. Awesome. Let's see. Doreen Wager said donated. Thank you so much. Next up is Sherry Collins. Let me see who else has donated. I will put everyone on the list. I know we give awesome readings if you haven't had a read. And the really cool thing about getting readings, especially when I have these amazing guests, and I really do. I'm so blessed. But it's really important because it's not important. I didn't mean important. I mean, it's exciting and it's fun because I have these amazing guests and we give you these double readings, and it's something you've never seen before. And you never know. We may never, I think we probably will at some point read again. It's a special thing. You know what I mean? So I think it's really exciting on these Sundays when they have the opportunity, to read with some of these, like the most amazing psychics and mediums in the world. And it's my pleasure to do this. And so if I were in the audience, I'd be donating right now. All right. So right now is Rowena, and then after that it is Jareen. And again, let me remind everybody that a donation of any amount today will get you a reading. And why is it not posting on the screen? Hello, I'm trying to get you on the screen. Oh, maybe because I typed the wrong thing. Let me just do that instead. All right. And then, all right, Be Live is being funky. I'm trying to put it on the screen where it says donate any amount. I'm afraid okay, I'm gonna actually reboot this, not reboot the whole computer, just this screen, and it might knock me off for a second, but I'll be right back. So just stay where you are. Rowena says, I am here. Let's do Rowena first. I can do the screen later. That's not important. Okay. Rowena put. I will give her to you.
Okay. So she doesn't have any specific question. We're just kind of generalizing.
Yeah, I'm not seeing. Let me take a look. Let me look a little further back.
Okay.
If you have, and if you donate for a reading and you have a question, let us know what it is.
Yeah, let us know then. But basically, I feel like a lot of changes or pathways that need to be changed around you. So I feel like going down, you have a tendency to go down the comfort road a lot. So really wanting you to, Spirit is really asking you to kind of change things directionally or think about directionally which way we're going. Sometimes, we have to, again, I'm going to refer back to what I said earlier, our 3 C's. Don't be afraid to take a chance to make a choice to bring about change. So I do feel chance, choice, change around you. So I feel like sometimes you have really good things that you want to bring forward and you're trying to manifest. But I feel like sometimes you have a really difficult time in bringing forward the things that you want. Not really happening in the time frame that you want that to happen. But I feel like patience, persistence, and perseverance around you. I feel like just kind of, I always say when we stop resisting and pushing against things, that's when things kind of manifest, when we kind of just let things go. So again, a lot of directional changes and transition coming for you. But I feel like you also have to be willing to take another route. So don't be afraid to maybe go a different direction than what your comfort zone gives you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. I'm drawn to grab one of my decks, my Esther. I got in Miami when I saw Abraham Hicks, and the other one I got in Orlando. And one is getting into the vortex, and the other one is Ask and It Is Given.
Yes. I love Ask and It Is Given.
And that's the one. I was asking Spirit. I just grabbed my pendulum. I'm like, which deck do you want me to pull from?
Yeah.
and this is what I heard, but then there you go. Well, you just confirmed it. Thank you. So I'm going to pull an Abraham Hicks card for you. Everything that you just read for her totally resonates with me, and with what I'm feeling as well.
Yeah, she has a lot of changes, but a lot of things she's trying to bring in, that we're having a difficulty in. And I think it's because, sometimes we have to not have the tunnel vision. And she's asking about the spiritual part of it. Spiritually, I think when we have to be willing to trust and change with that as well. So I feel like a lot of spiritual awakening can be coming to you, but again, putting in the work and doing the work. You're going to get out of it what you put into it. So the more you put into it, the more you trust in yourself. And that's the important part, just trusting in yourself. I think that you just have to ask, like it says, ask and it'll be given. It's kind of like one of those things that if we don't know, we just have to ask and wait to receive. Maybe the information doesn't come to us immediately, but it will definitely come. But you have to be open enough to know it.
I love your readings, Charla. I really do.
Thank you.
You asked me before, like a couple of weeks ago, if you could read for me live.
Yeah.
And I said no, because I need to feel comfortable at that moment.
Right.
At that moment. But now that we're here in the moment, you feel drawn to tell me anything?
Oh yeah, I will.
I love that. And hang on, I suppose I should probably finish what I'm saying.
Yeah, let's get
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Rowena. Forgive me. I have this card for you. I don't know that my spirit just took me like right over there. All right. So my desires, I have to read it first. My desires and beliefs are only thoughts. This is important for you. I feel it's very, I don't know if you can see that. My desires and beliefs are only thoughts. It says your desires and beliefs are just thoughts. Ask and it is given. You ask, it's what you just said.
Yeah.
Ask
crazy.
Attention. So a lot of people don't realize that you ask through your attention, through your wanting, through your desire. That is the asking. Whether you desire it to happen or whether you desire it not to happen, you are asking. So your attention to something is going to create it for you, whether that's something that you want or you don't want. And I feel very strongly with you, Rowena. And I feel you're a beautiful soul. I feel I feel dark sometimes. You go toward the negative thoughts. You really go, I feel like the downward spiral. You're not creating deliberately. You're not intentionally focusing on positive thoughts. You're allowing your mind to pop in a negative thought and you just go with it. You just go with that. We're all the way down. I'm feeling that all the way down the spiral. And so they're asking me to remind you to pay attention to what you give your attention to and focus on that which resonates with you, that which serves you. Because if you focus on that which no longer serves you, you're going to manifest more of what is. And though it might, in that moment, you can say, oh, well, there's more of what is. I told you, there it is. And there it is again. There it is again, because you're creating it time and time and time and time again. So if you want things to change, you have to change what you choose to focus on. And it's going to be a little bit challenging and at first, because I feel like you're used to feelings of maybe depression or angst, or you're used to those things. But if you truly want, and I feel like you do want to remove yourself, they're just saying remove your attention from, I feel like movies, like true crime, like there's things that you're focusing on that are really just helping to keep you down where you don't want to be. And then if you let go of some of those things, even though they're like guilty pleasures, let them go. And you'll find that you're going to start to, like a cork bobbing to the surface. You're going to bob back up. Charla has something. I know it. I feel
No,
it.
I do. I'm on low battery, so I got to go get my charger. You're
Okay. That is something.
But no, I totally agree with what you said, because and that kind of, I said it a little differently about going down different roads or not being afraid to go down different roads, because you get with that comfort zone, and you have to be really willing, and we want to be careful that we don't focus on as Meagan said, the negative road, that being drawn into those negative thoughts, because we don't want to receive more of what we don't want. So that's real important. But I will be right back.
Okay. See you in a moment. Oh, this is so much fun. Thank you very much, Rowena, for allowing us to read for you today. And you are awesome, my dear. It's always a pleasure to read for you, always. Let me remove that hide the comment. And then I am going to reboot this. Give me just a moment. And then next up is Jareen. So stay tuned, Jareen. Give me one moment. Let me see if anyone else has donated. And again, guys, if you donate any amount today, you will get an amazing double psychic reading from the incredible psychic medium, Charla Acker, and myself. So while you're plugging in...
so you're going to see some different views.
That's cool. Where are we? This looks exciting.
Okay.
Wow, where are we? Look at that room. Look at the ceiling.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy in here. This is kind of my... Yeah. You can tell we're raw and live. There you go.
Fascinating. Okay, I am going to reboot this. So just stay tuned. I might disappear. I'll be right back. Right.
Okay. Well, I'm on the floor now. That's all good. I'm getting grounded.
Here you are. As long as you're comfortable, that's what matters.
Yeah.
All right, now I'm going to type this in for a reading today. All right. So donate any amount for a reading today. Let me just close that for a moment and do it this way. Okay. Awesome. All righty. And Jareen says, I am here, General, please. All right. Certainly, Jareen. And Charlie, you are up, my dear.
Okay. What is her name? I can't see. I'm sorry.
Jareen, Jurine.
Jareen, that's pretty. I like that. So first thing I kind of get around you, dealing with some family stuff. So I feel like family drama or family conflict. I feel like conflict around relationships with you. So I feel like being careful, stay in your own lane, watch what you get involved in. I feel like just kind of, whether this be family or personal relationships around you, I just feel like watching what you say or how you say it, kind of some things maybe people, we just need to listen and not really express an opinion. So I feel like, and I feel like this is relatively close to you. So for me, this would be family, because it comes into the sides. So if you're not going through that family drama now, it will be coming. But again, be very mindful of what you're saying. Be careful not to express opinions with this. I also feel changes or transition, I want to say, around somebody wanting to change or transition around a job, or someone, uh, or changes or transition around jobs. So I feel like that would be coming as well. I don't know if this is something that you're thinking about doing, or people make changes and it kind of is going to affect you, but there seems to be a twofold there. So be aware of that also.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Charla.
Hmm.
I love your readings. I really do. By the way, do you teach classes online or only in person?
Right now, only in person. But who knows what's down the line for me? I don't know.
I say online. I
Yeah,
say online, then you can be teaching people all over the world.
yeah,
Yep. Like and one of these days, that was weird. Someone's driving like a motorcycle. It doesn't matter. Anyway, one of those things like didn't belong there, but suddenly it was there in my eyesight.
yeah.
I think that would be awesome. I think that would be awesome. I'd take it. I would take your class. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're great classes. We do a lot of interaction, getting into a lot of different things. We're going to do some scrying classes, remote viewing classes. I just really get excited about that. Because it really teaches people to be able to kind of do what I do with their own tools. So that kind of is a neat thing too. So like I said, we all have the capability. We just have to learn how to use it properly. So. Yeah.
And
And
I,
I'm going to say, I
mhm,
got to say this one more thing around
yeah.
terrain.
Mhm.
You know, somebody around you, I want to say, be careful with who you tell things to.
Mm.
If you don't want, people to know your business, or there's something very sensitive going on around you, be careful who you're sharing that with, because I feel like someone within your circle shares information. I don't think that they do this to be intentionally disruptive to you, but I do feel that they're sharing information that may be misconstrued or misinterpreted. So pay attention to that. Sometimes just, yeah, don't share as much as maybe, unless you don't care that people know, because there does seem to be something there that just, and like I said, not doing it maliciously, but it can get misinterpreted very quickly.
Thank you for that. As soon as you said that, Spirit showed me. Give me 1 second. Okay, Spirit showed me a fly, and like fly excrement. I know it sounds odd, but so I feel like this person, that I feel what you're saying there. I feel like this person, like you're expressing your feelings, and the sharing things about maybe things that you don't like about yourself, whatever, and they're listening to you, and then there's like a fly buzzing in somebody else's ear. They're telling other people what you shared, and it's actually creating more momentum in a downward spiral, because what you're sharing isn't something that you want anybody to know, but you're trusting them. But that I'm feeling like what's the expression? I'm feeling like you almost can't help yourself telling them.
Yeah, yeah. She's
Like, right? Are you getting that kind of like Charlotte? Like
yeah,
she can't.
she's a share. She likes to, you know, it helps to talk to people, but I think sometimes, we just have to be careful with what we share, to who we share. If you have that one entrusted person, maybe that's okay, but be careful when you're talking in general. And we think, sometimes we're at lunch with somebody, we think I don't know, you feel that closeness for the moment, and then we spill it all, and then, why did I say that? It's kind of one of those things. But yeah, just having to be careful. because you don't want to get something out there that you really don't want people to know, or that maybe would be misinterpreted, which you didn't mean it to be meant that way, but people, it's kind of like, it reminds me, do you remember playing the old in school where
Telephone.
you got, yeah, where by the time it got down to where
Yeah.
it was nothing like it started out. I forget what they called that, but that's kind of what it kind of shows me. So yeah, just be careful with what you're putting out there.
And Spirit's also saying self-deprecating. Like the things, a lot of the things that you're sharing are not things that serve you. They're not thoughts that serve you, but you feel drawn to share and to try to explain or over explain why what you hang on, let me ask Spirit how they want to phrase this. What you're sharing is not serving you. And what they're saying, what they asked me to pull a card, and it's acceptance, loving what is. And I really feel this is specifically about you, about loving yourself as you are, and stop telling other people what you don't love about yourself.
Right.
Stop telling yourself, that's what I was trying to say, thank you. Stop telling yourself what you don't love about yourself. Stop making excuses, well, I'm like this because, or whatever. You're awesome. You're perfect just the way you are. In every given moment, you're exactly where you're supposed to be. And also, I'm getting this weird thing, Bavarian pretzel. I don't know what that has to do with anything, but I'm getting Bavarian pretzel. So
You're
throw
trying
that out there.
Yeah. And I'm going to add to that as far as what she said. She said about just accepting yourself. Trust me, doing this work, you get a lot of people that don't accept you, and you get a lot of people that form opinions, because sometimes what people don't understand, they're afraid of.
Always.
So, with you, it's just learning that you are okay, and you really don't need the acceptances of other people don't always have to. Other people don't always have to agree with what or how you're doing something. You just need to trust within yourself that it's okay. So, and I also want to tell you to really pay particular attention to the month of October. When Spirit highlights a month for me, there does seem to be some importance with October, and they keep highlighting that for me. So if there's nothing coming up that would be big in October, there will be. So do pay attention to that. And sometimes, and so I should have probably explained how I do my readings too, because
Okay.
psychic, Spirit, I have what I call my own psychic directory. Sometimes they'll show me Red Cross, and that means for me healthcare. So that could mean two things for me. That could mean someone works in healthcare, or that could mean that someone is going to have a healthcare issue within family, or we're going to have to make some decisions about healthcare. Other things, the crazy things they show me when something might be for me, rainbows, or about if someone in a relationship is gay, they'll show me the rainbow. So that's kind of neat when I see that. So I've kind of developed this whole thing of signs and symbols. So it's kind of weird, and especially in my
Very cool.
Yeah, and in my mediumship readings, usually if there's a person and they want to give me the name, they'll show me someone in my circle. But if I don't know that, then they'll show me symbolizations. Like I had, somebody, the woman's daughter's name was Brie, so they showed me Brie cheese. So like you said, Bavarian pretzel, there could be an association with that somehow, so you learn and you develop your own kind of psychic directory. So that's kind of neat.
I love that. I actually have, I'm just, I'm still new at this, right? And so Spirit, there are certain things that Spirit does show me, like they show me like a train, like a platform, and then a train, and that train is always life. And then if someone's carrying a bag and like stuff falls out, they're carrying a lot of baggage with them, and they can't get on the train to move forward because they have this baggage. And they show me the train with the platform often with different scenarios. So I understand that this is a life journey, right?
Yeah.
Life journey, and the suitcases, so it's very cool. So did you create your own psychic directory, or did you get ideas from other teachers, or?
No, it's kind of like Spirit would just show me things.
Okay.
So they kind of created it for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've kind of asked them too, like over the years, if I can, because it's really hard. What people have to understand is it's not like I'm talking to them on the telephone where they're saying, "Hi, Charla, tell someone." that they're going to get a new job. It's not that way. Someone says, how do you get in psychic impressions? I say, blink your eyes and try to picture your kitchen. Boom. It's that fast for me.
Yeah. I never thought about it like that, but you're right. That's exactly.
And with clairial audience, when you're, when I'm hearing spirit, I'm not actually hearing them talk to me. It's more of a thought, and I have to kind of try to access what is my thought as opposed to their thought. And it comes very rapidly and very quickly. So sometimes since we're a team, I've asked spirit to, hey, show me this for this symbol, because this would be very helpful for me. Somebody once asked me, well, why did they just show you brie cheese? Why don't they just say brie? I said, I don't know. To me, sure, it would be simple to say brie. Show me the word brie, but it just doesn't work that way.
But
I guess it's not a
you know what brie cheese looks like. Not everybody would know what brie cheese looks like.
Yeah, it's things that are personal to me, that I would know. So, it's kind of difficult sometimes. So, and sometimes we get it wrong. Sometimes it's, I misinterpret something, but we usually figure it out eventually. But yeah, it can be really neat. Like I had this. It was interesting. I had a reading, and it was a mediumship reading. And, I asked, the other thing that people often say, well, she could look that up on the internet or on Facebook. And yeah, I guess we could. But I always ask spirit to give me something that is undeniable that only that person could know. This is funny because I had a client about 3 weeks ago, and I kept seeing creepy clowns in a crazy clowns in a like trunk. And I'm in the middle of this reading, and I said to her, I said, why is your dad showing me like creepy little doll clowns in a trunk? And she started to just bust into tears, and she said, there's only 3 people in the world that knew that. She says, my dad, my mom, and me. Her dad traveled with the circus, and he collected creepy clowns.
Wow.
Her dad passed away, and he didn't know what to do with. They don't know what to do with them, so they're in their attic in a trunk, like a trunk. So it's things like that you want spirit to come through with that is undeniable.
Oh yes.
So kind of cool.
I love that. Okay, so we do have another donation reading. That would be Jennifer Hurt, but me first.
Okay.
Okay. No, I mean me first. Like you can read me first.
Oh, you want to do yours? Okay. So,
you asked, and I had to know. I have to know in the moment how I feel in that moment. And in this moment, I would love to have a reading.
Okay, and it's all good because I want to say to you, in the next 5 years, where you are now and where you're going to be are going to be very different. Right. I feel so much transition and change, and I feel so much synchronicity coming into your life. And I feel really you're collecting people around you now that are going to be with you, I feel like, for years to come. You're going to remember people that you started your journey with, very humble. And I feel that although each person is unique and is different, they really are going to have something to offer you that really moves you into that new direction. I do have to agree with Jonathan in the fact that they do show me, and here's my symbolization for Hollywood. They show me those big lights on the ground that go up in the sky, and what they show me is doing something local first. Like I feel like a local talk show or local news that you're doing. And I feel like it really expands outward from there. And I feel like you're not really going to have to seek it out. I feel like it comes to you. And I feel like through your connections. So I feel like something locally starting first. And I don't know if this is what I'm seeing is like a local talk show or a local thing that you're hosting, whether it be like a local cable thing or something in your area. But then I think it really grows and expands from there. I also see a lot of talk radio around you. So I mean, not so much blog or what we're doing here, but I feel like on the air, radio, real radio. So I also feel radio around you, and I also feel like you're going to be really surprised where your gift is taking you in the next 5 years. I think directionally you are in a growth pattern, and I think
Mhm.
sometimes you have a hard time trusting yourself.
Yeah.
As much as you've grown, and you really have. I think the last I want to say 5 to 7 years have been amazing for you. Tremendous growth. I feel like you've been through a lot of challenges directionally,
Yeah.
but I do feel like a tremendous amount of growth for you. So like I tell my clients, Meagan, buckle up and enjoy the ride. And someone told me that once, but I feel like, you know, what you, and chills just move through me. So I feel like what you're, I feel like you're not even having to set your intention. I feel like what's really coming to you is coming to you by synchronicity, and it's supposed to be. So I don't think that you've even could comprehend the scope of that yet.
Wow.
So I'm very excited for you. And I hope that I'm one of the people you take with you.
Yeah, for sure you are. I
No,
mean,
so I'm kidding, but I just feel like you just have such a kind soul and such a kind energy about you, and I feel that Spirit really has brought you into this realm to really serve and to spread the word and help people grow vibrationally. And I think you're doing an amazing job of that. And I just want to thank you for what you do, because we need more people like you, and we need more people, to focus on the positive and not the negative stuff. I said that's one of the things that when I was in St. John, not reading the paper and not focusing on social media, even because a lot of some of the stuff that you see on there is cray cray, but not worrying as much about that, and kind of really just being, and boy, what a difference vibrationally that makes.
yeah.
So it really does.
I don't even have television. I haven't had it in many, many years. I haven't watched the news in more years than I can even tell you about. And I'm
Yeah.
extremely discerning in what I watch as far as movies. I have Netflix and Amazon and YouTube Prime. So this way I don't have any commercials either.
Right.
I'm actually offended that I have to go through with some commercials on my cell phone because I found this new game that I happen to be. I'm not usually a gamer, but I found this thing. It's fun, so I'm playing it. And I'm like, if it's asking me for $1.99, do I want to remove the commercials? I'm thinking I'm going to do it because I don't want. And I've been in marketing and sales a lot of my life, but I don't want and I don't know. I no longer want to influence people for this purpose of a company,
Right.
and I don't want to be influenced for that reason either.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So anyway,
Yeah, which is
that came from
ironic because you'll be working a lot, I think, that way. But it's okay. Because
no, I want to influence, but not. I mean, another. What you mean for a company? You mean like?
no. I feel like with the television and stuff, like you're saying, I don't watch it a lot. But
I know, right?
yeah, isn't that cray cray? But
That's what when Jonathan said that. I'm like, what?
yeah. But you'll be surprised, and I'll tell you, it's amazing what doors will open. So
I'm
get ready.
excited.
Yeah,
And you know what? I will definitely make sure that I have, I mean, a Spirit already knows that I have some control over the commercials if there are commercials that are shown when I'm on the air, because I just think that's so important. Not to just not to shove things in people's faces that they're unexpecting and they're like, oh, well, if it's on the air when she's on the air, then it must be a positive thing. You know, I mean,
I totally get it. I just feel like it's hard enough in life to keep that vibration high and to stay away from the negative stuff. And I just told my husband, I noticed this weekend in our area, boy, everybody's in such a hurry and they're so rude and they're like cutting people off and I'm like, geez, just breathe. And it's like I told him I don't even want to be out because I can't handle that. That kind of negativity. I just
I
makes me
understand.
cringe. It's like I said, I'm going to start. I said I want to get dial up and tell you what I need at the grocery store and just come out and give it to me.
I actually have shipped. I've been using that service for over a year now. I've only been to the store, I think, twice in the last 12 months.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm a big HelloFresh girl because I don't have time. So
that's interesting.
I will plug HelloFresh because, boy, amazing.
I haven't tried that.
Oh,
that's
it's
one
really
of the services that sends you the meal prep, right?
Yeah, you get online, you pick your meal, and at first I thought they were going to send you like, when they send you like Italian seasoning, they're going to send you like you get in the store, but they send you all fresh Italian seasoning. So if it calls for thyme and basil and rosemary. It's all fresh in the little plastic things. And, I don't have to think about the meals. I don't have to buy it. It's all portion controlled out. It's excellent. So
Huh.
we've been using that for about 6 months now. I love it.
I might try that because I think I might try that. I mean, I love using Shipt. I love not going to the supermarket. That
Yeah,
was always
it's
a
just
big
really
deal for me.
amazing.
The energy and the lights and the sounds are it was just a lot. The energy of all those people.
Well, it gives you some good different ideas too, because I don't know about you
Yeah,
guys, but I always cook the same things over and over. So
I
this
do
gives
that
you,
a lot too, but I'm the only one but my puppies and cats and I share
yeah,
some things sometimes, but I'm only cooking for myself.
yeah.
So I
And
cook what
that's
I
nice
like.
too, because you can get single servings, or you could get a double serving if you
I
want
would have to be a
leftovers.
double.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm
But
a foodie. Give me the good food. Give me the healthy food. I want it. Give me more.
yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for that, Charla. That was amazing. That was
Well,
amazing. Like really amazing. I'm gonna have to rewatch this again a couple of times. Thank you so
yeah.
much. Thank you.
Okay.
And then Honey says she subbed to you and subbed to me. I must be talking about YouTube. Thank you so much. And Rowena says beautiful reading. I agree. Thank you. And Shar says fantastic reading. Are you looking forward to watching your amazing journey? Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. All right. So now we have Jennifer. I'm so excited. I was excited before. Now I'm twice. Now I'm even more excited.
You should be. You should be very proud of yourself.
I've come a long way. One day in the future, when I've really gone even farther, I don't even know where, I might, do something about where I came from. But because, how Abraham always talks about, spirit doesn't look behind us. They only look forward. So I honestly, if people want to know where I came from, they can look at my old YouTube videos that I don't pay attention to anymore.
Yeah.
But honestly, that's, I think there might come a time where I take them down too, because it really has nothing to do with where I'm going.
Yeah.
People
like know about you.
Yeah, well, honestly, what it shows for me is the contrast, the severe, incredible contrast about where I came from and where I am today. And that's just tremendous. Like you said, I've been through a lot of transition. I have. And I'm really excited to see where I'm going. Really excited. All right. So the next up we've got Jennifer Hurt. Jennifer Hurt has donated. Thank you so much, Jennifer. Thank you for all of you. We love you all so much. Thank you for being here. All right. This is our last reading. I didn't realize what time it was. Yep. All right, so here we go, Jennifer Hurt, and our last reading for the day. All right.
Okay. Does Jennifer have a question or just kind of?
Let's see. I'm not seeing. Let me look. Oh, I think Kathy might have donated. Hang on, let me double check. If you've already donated, you're definitely getting a reading today. And let me see. Yep, Kathy is next. Awesome. All right, so you've got Jennifer Hurt and then Kathy. Kathy's last name is Gipe. Gipe or Jipe? I think it might be Gipe.
So Jennifer, yours is about relationship. I don't know if you're in a relationship or relationship around you, but I'm feeling a need to re-examine relationship, and this would be my love interest or my love relationship. I just feel a need to, I don't know, there seems to be a need to, there needs to be something changed with this relationship or communication wise, somebody not communicating what they need to communicate, or not communicating to the degree that they need to communicate. So if you are in a relationship, it's telling me the need for communication and the need to reconnect. And meaning, if you're not in a relationship, then this is meaning putting out there and communicating what you want in that relationship, and you have a lot of trust issues around you, so not allowing the trust issues to you don't want to put that vibe off. You have to learn to kind of let people in, and also understand and learn that what you're feeling matters as much as the other person's feeling. So communicating your feelings. Don't feel that you have to stay closed in your shell. Now, you're a good communicator when it comes to some things, which most of us are, but when it comes to other things, you have trouble with. So make sure that you work on that throat chakra. That's what they're showing me. Also, I want to say something with the thyroid. I don't know if this is with
Mm.
you or someone has some kind of thyroid issue, but they're showing me thyroid problems or something with thyroid. Now, this is nothing serious, but I feel like it's something that maybe if I'm at my next doctor's exam, maybe say, hey, have we tested my thyroid for a while or something with the thyroid? So just paying attention to that.
Wow, that was awesome. And I actually feel tightness in my throat. And and I've never gotten anything about medical stuff with people. And normally it has to do with communication for me. So honestly, with your readings, I would definitely check my thyroid. Yeah, I
there's
would.
something there. It's just like, I don't know if this is underactive or what this is, but something showing you. When I see the throat chakra and it's the way that it is, it definitely is thyroid for me. So having to watch that.
Thank you for that.
Especially as you get older.
I hear you. And then I did pull. I was drawn to pull a relationship card for you, and it says I can look for things I appreciate in relationships. I can look for things I appreciate in relationships. And again, these are the getting into the vortex Abraham Hicks cards. And Abraham says you cannot get the relationship of your dreams when your chronic thoughts about relationships feel lonely or angry or worried or disappointed. This is significant for you. But as you look for things that you appreciate in yourself and in others, as you make lists of positive aspects of past and present relationships, then you train your vibrational offering to match the vibration of your desires, and your perfect mate, in quotation marks, must then come. It is law.
Yeah. And isn't that crazy how the cards line up with the readings? I mean, it's crazy. Yeah. Wow.
They told me to pull the fourth card in the middle. I'm like, what does that even mean?
Yeah.
But I saw the deck was separated, so I counted out 4.
Yeah.
And there it is.
Crazy.
Pardon me.
Hang in there, Jennifer.
Yeah, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. Focus on positive thoughts. It's focus on what you appreciate. What I would do, Spirit showed me a list. Make a list of what you appreciate in yourself and others. I would literally write it down.
Gratitude. Be grateful for the things in your life. Don't focus on what you don't have. Focus on what you do have. Yeah.
I love my eyes. Or honestly, I see a list. I see that list. I see you writing it down, like physically writing it down. And then also there's another thing that I do in the morning, which is I've been doing that for years now. It's really been transformative, is that I do a mental gratitude list, just like Charla was saying, a mental gratitude list first thing in the morning before I even open my eyes. I'm grateful for my mattress. I'm grateful for my dogs. I'm grateful for my toothbrush, whatever it is. I'm grateful. Yeah. But something you really feel grateful for. If you have like a wobble in your vibration, don't then change the thought and just choose 10 things or even 5 things, depending on how. Sometimes, honestly, when you get good at it, you'll have so many things. You'll be like, oh, forget it. I could just have going forever about how grateful I am about everything. But I really feel like this would be really important for you and really significant in changing your life for the better. And you will attract the relationship that, and I feel like it's not just a romantic thing. It's relationships with other people.
Around her. Yeah.
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 So thank you for that. Thank you for that. Thank you for your donation. Thank you for allowing us to read for you today, Jennifer. And next up is Kathy. All right. So I believe, unless I don't see anybody else, and I believe Kathy will be our last reading for today. And so let me take the donation thing off the screen. If you haven't already donated, don't do it now because we're ending after Kathy. All right. So hold on. Let me find Kathy. Kathy, do you have a question? All right. Thank you so much for your generous donation, Kathy. And we have Kathy.
Okay, so Kathy just kind of feeling in general. Yeah. So Kathy, again, I'm going to say with you, I keep feeling this. Boy, a lot about relationships today, and a lot about how we feel, the relationships that we have around us. And as I felt with some previous people today, I feel like there's some relationships or some people around you. You really need to kind of reevaluate where you are in life. One of the things I always say is, you have a lot of doors that are cracked open. And you have a lot of doors that either need to be closed or swung open. So finish and get the junk out of the trunk, finish things up, because I just feel like, I feel very heavy with you. So I don't know if there's something going on stress wise with you, or something, if you're just kind of that type of person where you're kind of stressed and all over the place. But I do feel a lot more stress than normal. So it could just be something that you're going through, or it could be just that's the type of energy I'm feeling at this point. But I feel like just a need to really evaluate where you are. The things, and I can't stress this the most, and I probably say this 100 times a day, but if things in your life, whether it be relationships, or it be job, or whatever it be, I feel like if it's not serving you and it's not making you happy, get rid of it. We shouldn't keep things around us that are not serving us to the highest purpose. And that's what you have to do. So, really just clearing the junk out. Also, a lot of some obstacles and challenges coming up around you. But I feel like those obstacles and challenges, because the Tower card went in front of me. And a lot of people, when you read tarot, they look at the Tower card as a negative card. I look at it as a good card, because I feel like, Spirit does put obstacles and challenges in front of us to get us to new places, to get us directionally thinking in some different directions. So I do feel like you really having to, you're going to have some obstacles and challenges that kind of hit you out of nowhere. But I do think it's really taking you to a better place. So, when the negative happens, as I say so often, please don't focus on the negative, but pull what's the positive, or what's the lesson to be learned out of this. We're put on this earth to have contrast. We're put on this earth to learn. So, we have to have positive and negative, or nothing works, right? It's like batteries. If we don't have a positive and a negative, nothing runs. So it's the same thing when we have to have obstacles and challenges in our life, but instead of focusing on the negative, or focusing what something or someone did to us, we need to focus on what was the bigger part of that, is what was the lesson to be learned here. Because if you take a lesson, or you learn something out of that, that's when we move. And that's what this is all about. So
I love that. Awesome reading. And Kathy, I'm feeling like you're very focused on, like you're trying to, hang on a second. I feel like you're focused in the past. I feel like you're more focused in the past than you are in your now, that you're not as happy as you're with yourself now as you have been in the past. And that's why I'm hearing the word directionally. You're focusing in that direction instead of this direction. And they asked me to pull 3 cards for it. It actually jumped out as I was shuffling. So here they are. And the first card is balance, steady as she goes. Second card is in reverse. It is passion, do what you love. And the third card is empathy. I see and hear you. And I actually feel like the third card is really the first card, because I feel like you're extremely empathic. You're very, very intuitive and empathic, and you don't yet really know how to control that. And so you're taking on everybody else's emotions. I feel like I see you as a big sponge. I see you as a sponge, Kathy, and you're sucking in everybody else's emotions. And you feel like they're your own. You feel like very weighed down. Like Charla said, you feel very heavy. I feel like that a lot of that density is the feeling of carrying everybody else's burdens on your back. And it's like, it's just like a big, giant lead-filled coat, a lead-filled cloak that you're holding on to. It's just so heavy. And then they're telling you that balance, you're not being to balance your life. Balance your life. And it's coming right with this one, because they're saying that what will help you is to do what you love to do, that you're not doing enough of that you're doing what everybody else wants you to do, or what you think everybody else wants you to do. And you're so busy serving in what you think is a positive way. You don't like conflict. I don't think you like conflict, but I feel like you're doing, and you're not receiving. And it's a lot of energy expended and a lot of burdens that you're carrying, because other people express themselves to you and they share their burdens with you. And you're an empathic, beautiful soul. And you're like, oh, I care. I feel, I care. But you're not releasing that. Do you do any cord cutting, Charla? Or do you recommend any cord cutting videos? I really feel like Like she just needs to release and cut all these cords from everybody that's off her right
That's
now.
what I said. You know, you have doors that are half open, half closed. You got to either close them or open them. So, you know, we hold on to a lot. You know, she holds on to a lot just in general.
Mhm.
And a lot of empaths do that. You know, we're feelers. So, you know, when we fall in love, we fall in love hard. When we hurt hard. You know, and if you don't know how to control that, that can be a real issue. So, you know, one of the things too, another thing that you should consider is taking like a psychic development class or, you know, a class that will help you to understand what your energy is about and understand how to ground and how to balance yourself, because that's important. You know, and you know, if we're open, you know, think of it like a receiver. If you're open constantly 24 hours a day and you're pulling stuff in, obviously you're going to be crazy. You know, it's going to weigh you down eventually. And not only can it hurt you on a, you know, vibrational level, but it can also affect you physically, you
Yeah.
know, you know, with stress and worry, anxiety, panic attacks, sleeplessness. So it can do a lot for you. So, yeah.
Depression too. If you're carrying around other people's burdens and you don't know even realize they're yours, and you're busy focusing on everything that upsets them, and they're sad and they're heavy and they're weeping and I feel like a lot of stuff, you're just carrying around all this stuff.
Yeah,
And
you hear a lot of
too.
Yeah, and you'll hear a lot of empaths say, "I'm depressed and I don't even know why. I have nothing to be depressed about."
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
and that's because it's not your energy, it's not your stuff, but you're taking it on as your own. So, yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant, Charla. That's profoundly important, and I don't think I've ever shared that with people, and sometimes I even forget that myself. That's really important. Can you say that again, please?
I forget what I said now. Um,
You were saying that a lot of times people are depressed and they don't know why. They have nothing to be depressed about. And
I'll
that's
have
because
clients come to me and say, "I'm so depressed and I don't know why. I'm happy. I have a great life. I'm whatever." But it's because you pull other people's energy in and you're mixing it with your own, and it's not even your stuff that you're depressed about. So that really is, you know, that's why you got to clean the junk out of the trunk daily, you know, and that's why, and you know, you know, most of us are sensitive. I'm finding I meet a lot of sensitive. That seems to be, people are real feelers. I think clairaudient is less, you know, or is less common.
yes.
But the clairvoyance and clairosensitive. But I feel like, you know, people that have a lot of compassion and people that, you know, again, work in service, you're very clairosensitive, but you're very open to, you know, especially if you don't know about it and you don't know how to control it when you're on high antenna and high alert all the time, that's a real problem. So.
Have you ever worked in service, like as a waitress? I just saw you as a waitress. I just saw you with a serving tray. I don't know if that's literal or figurative yet, but anyway, but yeah, everything. Oh, that's a really great reading. I do feel like Spirit is showing me, Kathy, that most of what you're carrying around, the burdens that you're carrying, aren't even yours. Just like Charla was saying, they're really not yours. I'm seeing something really small as yours, and most of it is other people's. So yeah, so when you clear out all that, when you take that big lead coat off, you get rid of that coat, and you know what? I got to tell you, that's the last thing I have to say about that. And so thank you very much for your generous donation, Kathy. Thank you for allowing us to read for you today. Charla, I feel Spirit just showed it to me as we're doing this. And I'm like, I believe that you are going to teach a class online and that I have something to do with it, that I am promoting it or something like that. I see it happening.
You don't know. It could happen. I better get computer savvy then. But no, I'd love to do some online classes. I really would. And that's, you know, that's something probably down the road that we are going to do. But, you know, we've had so much on this year. My schedule is just so full. And it's, you know, I'm trying to practice some balance myself. So, you know.
There you go. The doggy on the skateboard, balance.
Yeah, so that's what I'm doing. And so, you know, my schedule for 2019 is pretty well fixed. So who knows what's going to happen in 2020. We might have some stuff coming up. So it's always,
very exciting. I'm also feeling drawn to tell you about Kajabi.com, where you can actually create like courses. And I don't know I haven't done it myself yet, but you can actually create courses, and it's supposed to be like a great website that helps you to do it and promote it and the whole thing.
I'll have to check it out. That would be great.
Yeah, Kajabi.com. I feel like it's something you're going to do. I think you're going to have some amazing courses. I really do.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much for joining me today, Charla.
Thank you for having me. This has been great. It went fast. I was thinking like 2 hours. Who wants to hear me talk for 2 hours? But Yeah, we did good with it being a holiday weekend, even. So that's
I
good.
think we rocked the house.
Yeah.
Thank you
All
so
right.
much. Really,
Thank you. All right.
Namaste, everybody. We love you so much. Thank you so much for joining
Have
us
a great
today.
weekend. Whoa.
Oh.
All right, I'm off. All right. Bye.
I'll see you next Sunday for another amazing live stream event. And again, thank you to my incredible guest, Charla Acker. So we love you guys. Have an amazing night. Ciao.